Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is Speak Your Mind, a live radio talkback show, and we have the delayed coverage shown on FBC TV. That's every Tuesday night and Wednesday mornings. Now, we have special guests in the studio today. They took out the time to drop by, and from the Fiji Police Force, we have the officer in charge, Juvenile Bureau, Inspector Orisi Tukana. A warm welcome to you. Okay, well, thank you very much. And we also have here with us, this is from the Divisional Traffic, Southern Assistant Superintendent Police, Chochi Dhakao Sese. Thank you for coming along. Okay, so just as we head into the talkback, we have this every Tuesday, and it's been noticed in media. Well, I think I'll start off with traffic first, if you don't mind. And, well, Mr. Dhakao Sese. Well, it's school holidays, and I've noticed in the media that we've had quite a bit of children who have been run over by buses. And this is when they are actually getting off. And they're crossing, and I know that I read about 4 cases in probably, I don't know, in the last 2 weeks. So would you be able to say something about why this is happening?
Thank you. This morning I would like to comment on incidents whereby kids have been victims of traffic accidents. Our men on the road, they are doing aggressive policing in regarding to traffic laws. And we are trying our best. We do awareness on schools, that is before the school holidays, advising the teachers, likewise the parents, on their roles in assisting us to reduce the number of accidents on the roads. Here we see a lot of school children. They are they are not being properly controlled at home. We do not want to criticize anybody, but our request is if the parents can assist us in taking proper control of children. They should be monitored from home where they are going. We can see kids now in the school holidays riding bicycles on the streets, going out in groups, which is not safe at all. You know, the increasing number of traffic on our roads these days.
Yes.
This is a threat to those who are walking wildly on the streets. You know, it's everybody's right, their freedom to move around, but they should also take precautions in what they do. So whatever we are trying to do is we address also through our community policing officers. They spreading this message for the family members, the adults in the families, especially mothers and fathers, to advise children please to refrain from walking around, loitering unnecessarily during this school term holiday.
Pinakavakalevu. Now, that is such a good point. I mean, as parents, we should constantly remind our children. I mean, you know, instead of just saying it once and just forgetting about it. Isn't that right?
Yeah, yes, definitely. That is correct.
So constantly remind them and of the simple road rules that they need to take. And, well, anyway, we'll come back to you shortly. And we have our friend here, Inspector Orisi Tukana, from your side. As well, you are from the Juvenile Bureau. This is the holidays right now. And what would you like to tell parents and guardians of the reality of what happens to children? I mean, you deal with these cases every day, and, you know, just for them to take it seriously.
Not only parents, everybody in the community has a duty to protect children. And we need to work together as community members in ensuring that children are safe, not only from crossing the roads, not only from going out in the public, and also from swimming in the rivers. And school holidays, there's 1 week beginning yesterday, and they will be going back to school next week. But it's times like this that children become vulnerable to issues like this, accidents on the road, or become victims of crimes. Some of them can even become victims of sex crimes. And the Fiji Police Force is really concerned about the issues relating to children's safety.
Yes, so it's very important that parents realize the reality of the situation where our children don't seem to be safe anymore. So, I mean, for goodness sake, you were saying about sex crimes being committed against children. And what would you like to say? How does these kind of crimes happen in the first place? Maybe give a few examples.
Now, first of all, Liz, parents need to understand the situations that makes or exacerbates the vulnerability of children to sex crimes, and they need to understand that. Understanding this issue will help them protect children, especially from becoming victims of sex crimes. One, for them to understand that when they are out there in the community, there are certain things which motivates people who commit sex crimes with children who are out there in the community. There are certain things that motivates them, and they need to be alerted to it. And if by alerting themselves to it, they will they will prevent children from becoming victims of crimes.
Right.
And there are also issues that parents need to be aware of to ensure that their children are not exposed or not become vulnerable to perpetrators, to people who actually prey on children for sex gratifications.
Yeah, that's correct. So, I mean, the seriousness of it is that, you parents can't be sleeping. They always have to be having in their mind that this could happen to maybe their son or their daughter. So, like in the Fiji custom, they too much trusting in family members, maybe, how they have uncles around, and, there's just, they don't even have that suspicion in the first place. Or maybe I should be more careful about my child.
Yeah, that's one of the factors.
Mm-hmm.
It is called environmental factors.
Okay.
When you're working with children, and especially in trying to prevent crimes like sex crimes against children, those are what is called environmental factors. Environmental factors are factors that is around the child that could expose the child to sex crimes. For example, if they are living with adults who are not their parents, they are living in homes that are not safely secured, or they are living in communities. If you look at some of the examples that we have in Fiji, where children were really were victims of sex crimes, you look at the types of communities that they live in. Most of them live in informal communities where relationships are not really important, because people come from different parts of Fiji and come living together in informal settlements. And these are some of the things that sort of expose children to sex crimes, because people in the community do not actually have sort of an ownership or relationship that would inhibit them or stop them from actually harming a child, or even thinking about harming a child.
Pinakavaka Levu, and we will be back for more on Speak Your Mind, Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is your only classic hits radio station in Fiji. Thank you for your company. Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is Speak Your Mind, a live radio talkback. And if you have something that you'd like to share right now, you can call 77320906 or 77320907. Our direct line is 3220-906. Now, we've already spoken to Inspector Orisi Tukana about the vulnerability of children being exposed in the way that they live that make sexual predators actually go for them. But we'll talk now to our traffic friend. This is Assistant Superintendent Police Chochi Thakausese. Now, I know that there was this terrible accident that claimed the lives of two young men, these two innocent men in Samombola Suva. So what exactly happened, Chochi?
Luis, the accident happened last Sunday. It is roughly about 6 a.m. in the morning. They were returning from clubbing here in Suva. Then they had taken a ride. Somebody had given them a lift from the Suva bus stand, and they ended up in the ditch past Samambula. Two of the passengers inside died. One died instantly, and one died 2 days later.
Absolutely awful. And is this the first accident where a car has actually flown right off there, 100 meters down, to where Bayview Heights is? Or has accidents like that happened before in that area?
To my knowledge, that is the first one that I have known of
I
since
see.
coming to the Southern Division.
Oh, okay. So they said that it was a rental car, right, that they got into, not a taxi. Is that right?
Yes, in fact, it was a rental car that was driven that morning by the person who caused the accident on the day.
Oh, dear. So, he fled the scene. Has he been caught?
Yes, he was arrested 2 days later. In fact, he surrendered himself. He came in voluntarily to the Sambula police station.
Okay.
Must have heard the news that police are looking for him.
Right.
Then he came in, and he has been charged, and he had appeared in court on Friday.
Okay. So, with this kind of offense, if he's proven guilty in a court of law, what is the punishment like?
The Land Transport Authority Act, it does give a fine of over $5,000 to $10,000, and also it is giving a term of imprisonment.
I see. So he acted as a taxi driver. So in the first place, that's illegal. So, the poor guys, they were wanting to go home. No taxis, not enough taxis. So they were tempted to actually get into this rental car and not knowing that, they would never see daylight again. So, it'd be advisable, I'm sure, for you to inform the public not to use these sorts of vehicles that come along and offer you a ride, right?
Yes, we have, the public should know that this driver, the concerned one from Samambula, he has been charged accordingly, not only with causing the death of those two victims, but with other offences relating, and police are relating to the death, and likewise police are pursuing the legality of using that vehicle, the Land Transport Authority. We have to consult the legislation too, and the view of DPP on that issue.
I see. So, I've noticed a lot of accidents. They seem to happen one after the other in a short period of time. And is there an explanation for this? Could you maybe just give us a few statistics that you have there?
Thank you, Luis. I would like the public to know that currently we have 14 fatalities on our road. That is national.
Okay.
14 fatalities. That is compared to 23 for the same period last year.
Okay.
And we have managed to reduce it. The public has assisted us tremendously on those issues. They have been working closely with us. But we keep requesting if they can assist us. We cannot work, the police cannot control this itself. The public needs to work with us. And that is by adhering to the legislation, not the attitude of drivers. Likewise, we had been talking about school children this morning.
Yes.
And especially we've seen poor control by the adults, the parents and the guardians at home. We can see school children walking maybe aimlessly on the road. We don't know. We see school kids being sent to the shop. I know they're very young kids at the age of maybe 7 or 8. We cannot isolate them and send them like that. I believe it's the responsibility of the parents, not only the parents and the adults. Likewise, if the general public,
Yes.
if you are on the road and you see them, it's better that we assist them when you see those kind of things happening on our roads.
That's
And,
exactly right. Because, I really get a shock when I see these little children, even sometimes going to school. And, I'm sitting in the bus and I'm like, oh my gosh, how can that kid be going alone? Unbelievable. So, you've really brought up a great point, and you've said that, even we can assist. If we see a small kid walking along, hey, where do you live? Where's your mommy? Where's your daddy? And take that kid back to his home. And tell the parents off. Okay, well, carry on from there. Yes.
The public too should know very well that there is an offence in the act that it spells out the negligence of parents.
Okay.
They can be liable. A proper investigation will be done because it is their sole responsibility.
Yes.
Children, until they are over 18 years, then we can leave them alone. But here, sometimes there's too much reliance. We have trusted them more by letting them do what the adults would have been doing.
No, that's ridiculous to be letting a child, that young, like you said, 7 years old, sending them to the shop or sending them to school by themselves. Because they're children. They don't have that sure mind of how to cross the road. They will do things like all of a sudden. You know what I mean?
Definitely, yes. We've experienced most of our cases whereby pedestrians, school children, or the young ones, where they are victims, it's you see that the drivers, they say that because it's not always the drivers who are at fault at times. Sometimes it's the pedestrians.
Yes.
And when it involves school children, it's an immediate takeoff of children from where they are.
Right.
They do not, sometimes they do not make up their mind whether they are to cross or, because they are children.
Exactly. I mean, at least wait until 13 years old. But anyway, we'll be back shortly on Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is Speak Your Mind. We're back on Speak Your Mind. Thank you a lot for your company. And we've got our two gentlemen officers here from the Fiji Police Force who are sharing with us, also advising us on what we need to do. But Inspector Tukana from the Juvenile Bureau. Now, I know that the Fiji Police Force is concerned with violent crimes lately. What type of violent crimes are you concerned with, Inspector Tukana?
Thank you, Louis. The Fiji Police Force has been, over the years, concerned about domestic violence, where women and children and people in familiar relationships have involved in violence at home.
Yes.
And if you look at look at our key performance indicators for our annual corporate plan, you will see that we have been mandated by government to reduce incidents of violence against women and violence against children, or crimes against women and children, by 10%. And we are actually focused on that. And our community policing initiatives, I'm thankful that you have given us an opportunity to be here to also talk about it.
You're most welcome.
It's really important for the media to be part of it in talking about these issues. And also things that we are really concerned about is sexual violence or sex crimes, which is something that not only the Fiji Police Force is concerned about. I'm thankful that the Prime Minister has taken up the initiative to talk about it and try to protect women from issues that are now sort of violating the women's rights, which is it's really important for us to understand this, Louis, that home is an important or families is a very important institution in our society. And women and children need to be protected within the homes. And I'm thankful that the government have actually enacted the domestic violence decree,
right,
which is sort of it's a decree that protects the family and protects women and protects children. And that is something that I'm thankful about, and something that people need to understand, that domestic violence decree is not a law that is created to break up the family. There's a misconception out there in the community that when we talk about these issues, when you talk about women issues, when you talk about children issues, that people start to believe that we are
breaking up families.
Breaking up families. Not really. What we are really trying to do is unite a very important institution, protect a very important social institution, which is the family, and we need to and we need to understand that the community need to understand that. Like Tochi had already mentioned, that these things that we are doing cannot be won by police alone. Police cannot be doing this job alone. We need the community. We need everyone to pitch a hand, to work with us and try to protect women and protect children.
Yes.
From these social ills.
Yes, and you mentioned first domestic violence. Police is concerned how couples, sometimes, I mean, in the news the other day, it was a guy who got hot water spilled over him. It was a woman who actually abused him, which is, minority, but mostly, don't you agree? Men are the ones who actually, landed a hand on the woman, probably for control or whatever it is, but that's illegal. And I know that you have now from a while ago, the no drop policy. So what do you think makes them resort to violence as a couple when they started off so lovingly?
I'm sorry, Luis, that there's I don't think there's a research done to actually tell us what actually pushes people in the family to fight. But there are general assumptions that I believe, but there's never been a research that actually tells police that this is actually the things that falls behind the causes of domestic violence. But one of the important components or components that of domestic violence, if you look at all types of domestic violence, you will see there is in every domestic violence cases, the perpetrator is always attempting to use power and control over the other person. That is it's a common component of domestic violence. It's just the use of power and control of another person. So
when they do that, they try to submit that woman's, like she can't fight back. She becomes submissive to him.
That's usually the intentions of all or most domestic violence cases.
I see a lot of people, even neighbors, they say, "Oh man, that neighbor there, too much fighting, eh?" And even if the woman's screaming, they'll say, "Oh, they're idiots. They don't want to do anything." So what would you say if a neighbor was to hear, some kind of shouting and, really scary shouting? What do you think that the neighbor can do?
It's really important for neighbors to understand that when they hear two people fighting or a couple fighting in their homes, that they can go on and knock on the door and ask them if everything is all right. It can help. Okay. But if the neighbor thinks that no, it's out of his control or out of her control, they can call the nearest police station. Call the nearest police station, because the police is mandated under the domestic violence decree to prevent domestic violence.
Because of the fact that it can lead to death.
Yes, of course.
And I mean, you only live once, and that person will live in regret, and the family broken up, and terrible stories. So I think anger management too would be a good thing to do in the community.
That's actually, if you look at the continuum of domestic violence, it will begin with small bruises, and the worst forms will end up in murder. So, and we need really people to understand that domestic violence, two people fighting, it can start with a quarrel, then it started with a beating, and there are cases where the victim ended up dying.
Exactly. So this year, how many cases? Maybe just a guess. Have you had quite a lot of cases of domestic violence?
Domestic violence
reported at the police station. Yes.
It's something that if you look at the crime statistics of last year and compared it to 2014, in 2014 it was a bit less. In last year it has increased, I think, to 431 cases of domestic violence. So we have seen that in previous years it had sort of gone down.
Yes.
But as years goes by, until last year, it's sort of gone up, the
Yes.
cases of domestic violence.
Oh, okay. So, because I was talking to Shamima Ali, and she said it could be a sign that more women are standing up for their rights and actually reporting their partner to the police.
Well, it's that's a good point, Luis, and we are sort of happy about it. Not so much happy that domestic violence is happening at home. We are happy. The police is happy about it. That there is confidence in police services
Yes.
in dealing with domestic violence. When we come to think about it, the increased number of reporting actually telling the police that we are actually doing a good job, and women and children are sort of have confidence in us, in the police.
Come out with it.
That we will investigate and deal with the perpetrators.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Inspector Tukana. We'll be back shortly on Speak Your Mind. This is Gold FM, only the classic hits, your only classic hits radio station in Fiji. Only the classic hits, Speak Your Mind, and it's a Santa show with me, Louise. Thank you for your company, and we continue with our chat with the Fiji Police Force reps that have joined us today, and we've just spoken to the Assistant Superintendent. Well, actually, we will speak right now to Assistant Superintendent Police Divisional Traffic, Southern, Chochi Thakaosese. Now, what is the main cause of serious or fatal accidents in the country?
Thank you, Luis. Our record does state that the major cause of accidents on our road is speeding, and after speeding is drunken drivers. We are not doing away with the other causes which is contributed by the victims themselves. Those are pedestrians, careless pedestrians, and it's termed as a pedestrian at faults.
Yeah, that's so true.
So those are but the major cause is speeding on our roads. And we have often addressed this by issuing traffic infringement notices to the drivers, and likewise we charge them accordingly for the speeding offences.
Okay, so they pay quite a big fine?
Yes, the fine is about $200 and some is $100. It depends on the speeding and the area where they are speeding, plus the fine that is given in accordance with the speed limit that has been breached.
I see. So why is it that people just don't follow the law? They just continue to speed. I mean, I'm sure you would have noticed that there are some who are multiple offenders. Maybe they've been caught speeding more than once. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. There are a lot of drivers who have been dealt with on a number of occasions. They continue, but the LTA are assisting us on this because they are keeping proper records of the offenders. And so we give them the information, they are storing it there. Likewise, we are also having a data storage system within the Fiji Police. And we have noted that there are a number of drivers who, despite being booked continuously, they still, they constantly continue to
break the law.
To reoffend on speeding offences.
Right. So how often are they to pay fines and then they get their license taken off them?
The license will be revoked by the court, and
Normally, like after how many times he's offended?
that is after the court will do it after 3 times, 2 to 3 times.
2 to 3 times. Okay. So we've had a lot like that. And drink driving continues.
Yeah, drunken driving is also another problem that we faced. It has also contributed to fatalities on our road. Mm-hmm. Like in the weekend, there was a good number of drivers who were arrested for being drunk and driving on our roads. We were very aggressive in the weekend. Mm-hmm. We had put up a number of roadblocks resulting in we have arrested a number of drivers who have been drunk and driving.
That was because of the busy weekend, I suppose. We had the Coca-Cola games and also the start of the school holidays.
Yes, but it's sad to know that despite our continuous repeated warnings, awareness done on the media, people, they do not follow what we have been trying to advise them not to do.
Exactly. I mean, don't they value life?
I don't know, they do. Sometimes they say that they are just enjoying themselves. We have just finished with some people using, I don't know, they want to use their money in the way they want to, but we keep reminding them of breaching the law. It is not good. They should always assist police. We cannot work in isolation. The public needs to assist us in trying to cut down on the number of offenses that is committed on our roads.
So, I mean, not only that, I'm sure like talking on the mobile phone while you're driving, that is quite a big contributor to accidents as well. Has any accident happened because of that in Fiji?
Yes, a number of offenders too have been booked for the offense of using illegal use of those telephones, driving and using the telephone, the cell phones, which is not safe.
Yeah.
And not only using of telephones, I've seen pedestrians too, they're using what you're wearing, their headphones and some say earphones.
Exactly.
And this has also contributed to accidents on our roads.
Yeah, because if you wear in earphones and you won't be able to hear anything, only your music. So the ears play a very important part too also in using the road for everyone, I suppose.
Yes, that does contribute. There is a place here which we have always tried to advise the public. It is a privilege given to them. That is the use of zebra crossing, pedestrian crossings.
Okay.
So, we know it's a privilege that is given to them. But one should always consider vehicles. You don't know what are the attitudes of drivers coming. The manner in which they cross the road is like they are walking somewhere from their house to the kitchen, or they are escorting something. They should try to cross the road at the earliest and fastest time, not by taking a walk like you walking with a very close friend. No, you should be considerate of the drivers.
Yes, that is so true. Jaywalking, right?
Yeah.
That is a very good point that you've brought out, because a lot of people, they blame the drivers. And when you see the pedestrians, they're not doing their part, as you've said, just walking, strolling along, expecting the driver to watch out for them.
Yes, that's correct. That is what I'm trying to raise today. So the public should be aware of that. They should assist us. If someone's life is taken away, maybe we'll take the driver to court. But some of them, they get seriously injured, and this does affect them in their future. So it's not the privilege won't help them again. So the best thing to do is try and respect the rules and regulations, traffic rules and regulations, and always abide by the law. Be a law-abiding citizen.
Yes, I mean, it takes two to tango. So from both sides, the driver in the vehicle and the pedestrian, just always to be alert no matter what. That's the main thing, I reckon.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, well, you know, we've had other rules that they break on the road, like no taking over bends. You see them, they keep taking over bends. You know, things like that. And, well, there's all the traffic rules that contribute to accidents. But anyway, we've run out of time already. We'll be back soon on Gold FM. Only the classic hits. Speak your mind. Gold FM, only the classic hits. This is Speak Your Mind, and we are having a very lively discussion here with our two friends from the police force and, well, the Assistant Superintendent Police, Divisional Traffic Southern, Chochi Dhako Sese, who has mentioned that, you know, wearing earphones and all this is just not on while you are walking on the road. But now we turn to Orisi Tukana, who is the officer in charge of the Juvenile Bureau, and you have already stated the crimes which you are concerned with. We've spoken about domestic violence, and we will now, I think, talk about rape. because for the fact that the Office of the Public Prosecutions, they actually released statistics, and they said that just in the month of April, 50. Imagine that.
Yeah, thank you, Luis. That is when we're talking about reduction of crimes against women and crimes against children. We are also talking about the reduction of sex crimes against women and against children. And the police forces, it's really concerned about it. That these crimes continues to happen. While statistics for the last 5 years shows that there's a decline in the number of sex crimes, but that does not really mean that we are going to be complacent about it, and we are going to rest on our laurels and don't do anything about it. We are still concerned, and our target every year is to actually reduce this type of crime by 10%. And our community policing awareness programs, we do that. We talk about these issues. We talk about the need for people to understand what actions or what happens, that what actions constitutes rape, or what happened that constitute a sexual assault, or what actions constitutes an indecent assault, or a case of indecently insulting a person. And that is something that we are working on almost on a daily basis, informing the community on these things for them to understand. And if that happens, if it is happening in their homes, and they need to report it to police. Another area that we are concerned about is the sex crimes that are actually committed against our children. And that is, for last year alone, there were 650 cases registered by police in 2015 alone. 650 cases where children were victims of sex crimes. When I talk about sex crimes, that involves rape, attempted rape, assault with intent to rape, sexual assault, abduction of girls under the age of 18 years for the intent.
Like a sexual slave or something like that.
And indecent assault, defilement of girls under 13, defilements of girls under 13, that means that a person had sex with a girl who is under 13, or a defilement of girls under 16 years who are already over 13. And we are really working hard, the police force is working hard, and we again asking the public to join hands with us in trying to bring down the number of these types of crimes committed against our women and our children, and particularly against our children.
Exactly. I mean, you have to report it, and at least in the hope that we can stop these predators, I call them. Awful. I mean, goodness me. How can you do that? I mean, what's in their mind? I mean, this is, well, we're a Christian country. I mean, it's all about morals, just having the correct state of mind. I mean, you should know what is right and what is wrong. And to me, I mean, to go down that low, these people really need to be punished properly.
It's really important for the community to know not only this is not a responsibility for police alone, it's not a responsibility for social welfare department alone, or the other key partners that work with police in reducing these types of crimes. It's everybody's responsibility, and I'm thankful that even the Prime Minister had actually came out public and in showing his concern on these types of social ills that we have in Fiji. And we need to work together as a community. We need to work together in bringing down these types of crimes, especially or particularly in our attempt to protect our children.
Yes, and that's the only thing to do. And would you be able to tell me, like, because of crime, I mean, there is such a law as citizens arrest. So maybe you could explain to us what citizen arrest involves.
Thank you, Luis. It's really important for the members of the public out there to know. Sometimes when a crime is committed, people sort of turn the other way and say that's a job for police to do. And they need to understand now that they have a role. They can make arrests and take the person to the police station. At the police station, the police officer will make a rearrest, and that is provided under the law, under the crimes procedure decree.
Yes, so that's very important to know. Citizens arrest. I mean, be the good Samaritan, I should say. I mean, don't walk past when you know that something horrible is going on. But anyway, officers, thank you so much for your time dropping by to our Gold FM studio. We've come to the end of this week's episode of Speak Your Mind.
Thank you, Luce.
Vinaka. We'll be back again next week. Don't forget, every Tuesday, it's a live radio talkback. And the delayed coverage shown on FBC TV every Tuesday and Wednesday morning. Vinaka, Modemanda.